I guess we'll get started. 5 minutes early, it looks like we're all ready. We're nice and quiet, so we'll go ahead and get started. Daniel, we're going to get started now. Oh, we're good. Okay. Well, thank you all for coming, especially on such short notice. It's actually a pretty good turnout. I'm pretty stoked right now. This is as stoked as I've been in a long time. Well, my name is Chris Willett, and I currently serve as the Associated Students President. And it's been a very fun and exciting year, and it's about to get even more fun right now. So, we will go ahead and get started. What I'm going to do is introduce the two slates, and the President and Vice President nominees, candidates, and we will then go over the rules for and the format of the debate, and then we will go straight into opening statements. So first of all, starting in alphabetical order, we have slate Student Success with Jesus Martinez Ramirez running for President and Taylor Burr running for Vice President. And then over here, we have United We Thrive with Tiffany Zeich running for President and Talar Alexanian running for Vice President. I would also like to introduce our Chair of Elections, Hannah Andrews, who is right there. So you can stand. Yes. Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. So now I'm just going to briefly go over the style of the debate for today. We're going to start with opening statements from the presidents. So the presidents will have 2 minutes for an opening statement, and there will be no rebuttals on the opening statement, obviously. And then we will go straight into questions. We did a coin flip to see who would start. Student Success won the coin flip and decided to go first. So they will be starting with their opening statement. And I will be keeping time, and if it goes over, I will stop everybody. I'll give everyone a 15-second warning to my best ability. If there are any questions throughout the debate, you can ask me at any time, but it will count towards your time. All right. So with that, we will start with Mr. Martinez Ramirez.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming today. This is on, right?
Yes.
All right, cool. So, and also thank you to all the students that are watching us. Hopefully this will be on social media pretty soon. So again, my name is Jesus Martinez Ramirez, and I'm running to become your next student body president. I've been involved in student government for the past 2 years. I started off in student government representing my club and organization, and it is that passion that has driven me for the past 2 years to help clubs and organizations get the adequate funding that they need to put on successful events, and also provide leadership opportunities to our students. In those 2 years, I've had the great honor of representing students and helping represent their voice in many campus issues, such as commencement, as well as lobbying on their behalf in Sacramento. Again, if elected, we will focus on four main issues, which will be improving communication between the associated students and the student body. If you walk around campus, there's still too many students that don't know enough about associated students or our programs and services. So that's something we look very forward to working on next year. That is why last year Internal Affairs decided that we were going to do AS Awareness Month, where we're not going to wait for students to come to associated students and come to our office hours and ask us questions. We're going to be more proactive and actually go out and talk to students and ask them what do they think about issues like smoking. We'll also improve communication between the clubs and orgs and AS. Too many of our clubs don't know how much funding they have every year, so we will schedule meetings with all of the student leader or the presidents and treasurers, again, to improve that communication and see where we can work together on our goals. We will strengthen our partnerships with campus partners such as police services, and we will foster cooperation among clubs and orgs. And when we do this, we will enhance the life.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So now we will go to Tiffany Zeich for her opening statement.
Hello everyone, I just want to say thank you for coming out today, and hello to everyone who's watching. My name is Tiffany Zeich. I currently serve as the chair of the Environmental Affairs Committee with Associated Students. I got involved with AS 2 years ago. I was a transfer student and I wanted to integrate myself in some way and unify students to come together and to be a part of a larger student body that represents all the students in general. So I became a committee member with EAC, and then I started to chair over a year and a half ago. Under the slate United We Thrive, which is where we're running as, we want to collaborate with students and we want to make that unification with everyone on campus. We want to hear what students have to say. We want to be there for them and we want to implement projects. And that's something with the past experience by chairing the Environmental Affairs Committee. I've had the honor of working with numerous staff, faculty, and students on campus and coming up with great projects and implementing them, and that's something that we're striving for. We want to implement projects that students want to see on campus and to have on campus. Some of our 4 main goals is collaboration. We want to work with different religious groups, different fraternities and sororities, as well as all the different clubs and organizations on campus. We want to enhance communication when it comes between students and associated students. What do they want to see on campus? What do they want to see implemented? The issues we want to focus on and represent those students. And that's why I'm running today, because I feel it's the most important thing to do is to represent the students on campus. As well as sustainability is another thing that we're focusing on. One of the focus that I'd like to integrate onto campus is to have a farmer's market to cater to the different diet preferences on campus, as well as working with the Matosphere Sustainability Living on campus, which is in student housing. And
15 seconds.
And I just hope that we can represent every student, and that's going to be our goal.
Thank you very much. So the first question will go to the presidential candidate from Student Success, Mr. Martinez Ramirez. He will have 2 minutes to state his answer, and then the president from the other side will have 1 minute to rebut. There will be no re-rebuttals. I hope that makes sense. There will be no going back and forth. It'll be question, answer, 1 rebuttal, and then we will switch question, rebuttal. God, I hope that makes sense. I'm sure it does. All right, so we're going to start with a 2 minute. You have 2 minutes to answer the following question. All the questions were at random and were selected before, depending on who went first and who went second, based upon the coin flip. So the first question is a fairly normal one. What do you believe the role of the Associated Students President should be? We will start your time when you begin speaking.
All right. The role of the Associated Students President is to lead the organization. Again, we have a $7.6 million budget, and it is crucial that the president is involved in the budget process, because that's how we provide support to more than almost all of the clubs and organizations on campus. It is to work with all of our department heads, whether it's the Children's Center or the Recycling Center, and making sure that their programs and services they're offering to our students are being well marketed, and then also knowing how to work with our campus partners, such as police services, on issues, whether it's campus safety, to just, again, raising awareness of the different programs and services they have. Too many of our students don't know, for example, that if your car battery dies, that you can get a jump start for police services. Our students don't know that bicycles are the #1 stolen item on campus, so we need to raise awareness about issues like that. And we can do that by continuing to strengthen our partnerships with our current partners, as well as represent the student voice in many campus-wide decisions. There's many committees on campus, as Chris can tell you. There's probably 4 to 6 committees just in technology alone. So again, it's representing the student voice in those committees, as well as in outside of CSUN, whether it's Sacramento or just meeting with our elected officials. And most importantly too is reaching out to the students and knowing the students need to know that they can always approach the AS president and the rest of the Senate and ask them any question that they have or any concern. And too many of our students, again, aren't aware about Associated Students or don't know where our offices are. So the role of the president is to lead the organization and also to serve the students.
Thank you very much. All right, Ms. Aichi will have 1 minute to rebut. You can speak on any of the points or add any of your own
All right, so I definitely agree with Jesus that the president is the student voice on campus. Therefore, I feel that we need to be out there and engaging with students and talking to them and seeing the things that they want to see change and implement on campus and what is important to them. Therefore, I feel like we need to add more AS on Wheels events and go out there and actually reach out to the students, see what they would like to be having on campus. Having the AS president attend different clubs and organizations meetings, seeing what they can do to get involved, what they're working on, what their goals are, and what they would like to see being further progressed, either when it comes to the budget and what they would like to see implemented from that budget. I mean, $86 gets charged to every single student. Every single student should have a say on what they would like to see implemented on campus with the $7.6 million budget that we currently have within California State University Northridge. So.
Thank you very much. See, that wasn't so hard. We made it through one question. Now we'll make it to the second question, which will now be for the vice presidents. We will start with the United We Thrive, and in the rebuttal, we'll go to student success. So Ms. Alexandrian, what do you believe the role of the Associated Students Vice President should be?
Well, hello everyone. I'm Talar Alexandrian and I currently serve as your Associate Students Vice President. So I can definitely say that the role of the Vice President can be fluid at times. People often wonder, what does a Vice President do? And I can say from my past experience, it's a strong partnership with the President and also representing that student voice on this campus. It doesn't just cover one aspect of Associated Students programming and services, but it's looking at things on more of a campus level, the statewide level, and a federal level. How is every student benefiting from Associated Students programs and services, but also during their time here at CSUN? What are the points of involvement that will help connect them to this campus, make them a matador, and really ensure that their time here is well spent both inside the classroom and outside the classroom? And the role of the Vice President is to make sure to work very closely with the President, with the rest of their slate, their Senate, in putting forward the vision for not only right now and the everyday student experience, but for the year, and what programs that need to be implemented, to be improved on, and to constantly have that feedback and that open communication and collaboration with the student body to move forward and actually make changes happen on this campus.
Thank you very much. We will go to rebuttal.
Dang, that was a really good answer. All I have to say, the incumbent vice president, how much better of an answer can you give? However, there are some points that I'd like to point out in addition to what was just mentioned. Something else as a voting member of the board, something else that the vice president should be able to do is to stimulate discussion within the board. And also play the devil's advocate so that we make the best decision rather than just a decision. I always think that maximizing the decision made and being able to discuss to see all points of views is very important, which is also in addition to giving the most benefit that we can to the students.
Thank you very much. All right, now we'll move on to the next question, which is for the president. And this time it will be from United We Thrive. We'll start, and then the rebuttal will go to student success. So the question will be, how do your current or past involvements qualify you most for this position of AS President?
Okay, so as I've mentioned, I currently serve as the chair of the Environmental Affairs Committee with Associated Students. So I've had the pleasure of working with numerous students, faculty, and staff and implementing those projects. And I feel like I'm qualified because I went out there, I've tabled, I went to AS on Wheels, I've talked to students on what would they like to see improved on campus. And I made that effort to make sure that every single voice was heard and made myself always open for students to come to me and feel that comfort and saying, you know what, I'd like to see this integrated. And some of the things that my committee and myself implement on campus is Zipcar, Rideshare, the Matador Exchange program, as well as Flow Water. So I feel as a committee chair, I want to represent and broaden not just on sustainability, but as well as collaboration and communication and emphasizing those different organizations that are on campus and working with them. And through my past experience and having that communication with students, and I want to broaden that and hopefully work with all of the thousands of students on CSUN's campus.
Thank you very much. And we go to Ms. Martinez Ramirez.
My greatest qualification to be AS president is just, the number one is that I am a student just like all of you here. I struggle with the same things, whether it's finding parking on campus every day between 12 to 2 or registering for classes. Even with priority registration, it's still difficult for me sometimes to register for classes. So I know what students are going through. The same thing with financial aid and just the high cost of tuition. So I understand what students are going through, and that's my greatest qualification. But in addition to that, I've gained a great amount of experience in the last 2 years. I've been on both sides of the table. Before I joined AS, again, I represented my organization, and after, it is because of that that I've been able to work with the finance committee and actually allocating the budget. So I know the strengths and our weaknesses of our organization as well as that of clubs and orgs. And as the chair of University Affairs, I've also been able to work with all of our campus partners.
Thank you very much. We will now move on to the next question, which will start with the Vice President nominee from Student Success. And your question is, how do your current or past involvements qualify you for Vice President?
Oh man, that's a great question. First thing that I like to pull from is my past involvement. One of the things that was kind of a transition from me from high school to college, the difference, was the transition of me being a hermit, not being involved, to being hyper involved. It was one of my goals in college, to become more involved, to become more social, to actually get this student involvement, kind of the college life experience. Some of the things that I did, I was treasurer for my fraternity of Kappa Sigma for 3 years. I was vice president of the Vietnamese Student Association. I was vice president of finance for Managerial Association. Then I moved on to the finance committee for Associated Students, and then moved up to the senator for College of Business and Economics for Associated Students. My major is business management. Basically, I have to do, my major does with people, and it does with how to get people to work for you, as well as negotiations. And I think negotiations is a strong part of this position, in negotiating with the president and that sorts of stuff. What makes me most qualified, I think, through all these leadership opportunities that I've taken, I've become a well-seasoned leader, and I really want to pass down what I've learned to everybody else. And I feel that through this vice president position, it'll give me the opportunity to teach and let people know some of the things that I've seen work and haven't worked, which is really important.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to the rebuttal from Vice President, presidential candidate Ms. Alexanian. You have 1 minute, whenever you're ready.
Well, it's been since day one that I entered this campus, I immediately got involved and immersed myself into the CSUN community. I've been a commuter student, so I go back and forth from campus to home, and I wanted to really have that college experience and make the most of my time here. And so I entered different cultural groups and took leadership positions in them, including the honors organizations on campus, including our Greek community. I feel like I've had a great run in terms of finding out what clubs and organizations are out there, as well as working at the Matador Involvement Center, which is the hub of all our clubs and organizations, our Greek community, our volunteer program on campus. I worked with Unified We Serve for the past 2.5 years in terms of integrating our students on this campus into the San Fernando Valley community and holding large-scale events in that regard. Right now, I currently serve as the Associated Students Vice President, and under my leadership, I've been able to pass on and mentor others to give them the initiative to get more involved, not only on the campus-wide level or through Associated Students, but the statewide level. I wear a different hat, and I also serve as the CSU Student Trustee.
I'm sorry, your time's up.
Well, thank you very much. I will continue later.
2 seconds over, my bad. All right, we are now going to go into the presidential question for student success. This question is, what would your first priorities be as Associated Students President, and what are your specific goals if elected?
My first priority would be to work with the Senate, to the incoming senators, and actually working with them and training them, and that's what I'll be working with the most and actually training them. They are all individuals with many great goals, and they're very dedicated. So my role as the president will also be to collaborate with them and help them achieve their goals. After that is working with all our different departments and sitting down with them and talking as to what are their goals for the year, as well as what are my goals for the year, which is, again, enhancing communication between the student body and associated students. So that's something we will definitely work on more. Again, for the past couple of years, we've always wanted to do University 100 class presentations, but that's never been able to work because it's planned towards the middle of the semester, so we need to be more proactive and start planning towards those things faster. And then after that, it's actually getting ready for inauguration and also starting to meet with the different campus partners that we have on campus, whether it's the director of the Dress Center or people within the BRC, or also our counterparts in the USU, and see how can we collaborate on our goals, which again are in enhancing the communication between the associated students and the student body, enhancing also the cooperation within the organizations, and just strengthening our partnerships. So again, it's working with our senators, working with our different department heads, and also with our campus partners on, again, serving the students and making sure that they have the best college experience possible.
For adding 15-second marks. Awesome, thank you very much. We'll move on to the rebuttal from United We Thrive.
All right, so I believe that opportunity is so essential for students who are on campus. And as being a transfer student, when I came here, looking at the different options and what's available, and to spread that awareness about what AAS provides to students, the different internships programs, creating a gateway where students can go ahead and find all the information that they need, where it's visible and it's fast and it's clear for them, as well as our senators. So to make them get involved and engaged, and to educate them, to draft legislative referrals, and to work within the different committees and make sure that they're representing and they're the liaison between the committees, who are the student voices, and as well as the senators that are implementing those changes and making them happen. For collaboration for the athletics, having AS marketing promote more of the athletic programs that are going on, such as different games on campus, and as well as the major specific fairs to bring students together within the same majors.
Thank you very much. We will now move on to the Vice President question, which will be for United We Thrive, who will have 2 minutes, and then a rebuttal from Student Success with 1 minute. The question is, how will you assist the President in his or her goals, and what are your personal goals as Vice President?
Well, as I mentioned before, I believe that the role of the Vice President is to have that strong partnership with the Presidency. That's the way I've led this past year, and that's the way I plan on leading with Tiffany in this following year. I think that our goals aren't the only goals that exist. Our goals are to make sure that we hear the student voice, and we make sure that we're implementing exactly what you'd like to see. What we stand for is a campaign of proven results. We don't just talk about the issues. We don't just talk about what ideas are out there, but we actually go ahead and implement them. And that's shown through our different work, through our different programs that we've implemented. And we want to continue on that route. Under my leadership, we've been able to get more students involved in statewide and university committees than ever before in history. And I can't tell you how important that is, and we'd like to continue on that stead. In terms of sustainability, to increase awareness of those initiatives, to have a farmers market on campus, to reach out to our underserved and underrepresented communities, including our LGBTQ communities, our veterans communities, our housing communities. And each of these communities have different needs and different wants from this campus. And making sure that we're tailoring our efforts to really reach out and meet those individual needs. Also, I'd love to see more students get involved and are more aware in terms of how CSUN and how you as a student play a role in the greater system of California. How does the governor's budget affect us and trickle down to our individual programs and services that are being offered on campus, to you in the classroom, what kind of advising you're receiving? Those are all great initiatives on campus, but they can all be improved and worked on. How do we do that? By creating strategic communications, strategic partnership, things that I've built in this past year, and to continue that on as we move forward in the next year to come.
Thank you very much. We will have a 1-minute rebuttal. Ms. Burke.
Sweet. I agree. The vice president's job is to go and work hand in hand with the president. That's 100% correct. Although something else that I want to point out is the vice president doesn't necessarily have to agree with the president. They do work hand in hand and they do work side by side, but conflict and the best interest of the students is always the top priority. And that doesn't mean you always agree. Which leads me to my point that I'm really running for, and something that me and Jesus kind of disagree a little bit on, which would be the budget. The budget is a big, scary thing that we deal with, and it's something that me and Jesus have a lot of experience with being on the finance committee. One big thing that I want to do is to use our budget efficiently or lower tuition in order for associated students to function more efficiently with this principle called just-in-time, which I'll explain later.
Thank you very much. And now we will move on to the presidential question, starting with United We Thrive. And the question is, what are the most pressing issues CSUN students confront on a daily basis?
Well, some of the most pressing issues from going out and talking to students and I've heard is the food options on campus. A lot of students have came up to me and said that they can't find healthy foods, high quality, either organic, vegan, within specific diet preferences. And as an alternative to that, I feel that a farmer's market can better help represent those students and cater to those needs that aren't being met within on campus. Currently the dining facilities provide some organic options, but not enough for students, and engagement as well as for students to be involved into campus. And I feel like since we're such a large body with commuting students, it's very hard to get a lot of students together, and that's one of the main emphasis goals, is to make sure that we are providing different outlets, different events, such as what AS Productions does and how they throw amazing events onto campus, and bringing the students, unifying, collaborating together is one of the important issues that I see. Increasing school spirit and attending our sports games on campus and supporting the teams that we have on campus, I see as some important issues. And the student engagement involved with that, so I would definitely want to increase that on campus.
Thank you very much. The 1 minute rebuttal.
The most pressing issues every year, we know that there's always 3 issues that are every year, present at every year. Those are tuition, registering for classes, and also finding parking. We know that a lot of our students, CSUN is I believe it's the university in the nation that receives most of the Pell Grants. Most of our students, over 60% of them receive some type of financial aid. So again, it's helping them get access to that financial aid and making them aware about the scholarships that we have available to them so that they can stay in school and graduate in time for them, as well as helping them, telling them about, using the waiting list, whether it's through their phone. And in terms of parking, students are always concerned about parking, so we'll be working with that. A couple of our students are working on an app that counts how many parking spots are available. So again, we will continue to work on those. But again, there's also different issues about just being aware about the programs and services that are available to us. And that's where AS is, our role is to educate the students about all the programs and services that are available to them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we will move on to the last of the questions, which will first go to Student Success Vice President candidate. If elected, how will you ensure that senators are representing their college or other constituencies?
Sure. That's one of the tougher questions. With consideration of our slate that we have put together, is one of the troubles that we have gone through. One of, at least my opinion, is that there is no way to make somebody want to represent their college. Somebody has to be self-motivated. They have to want to actually go to their respective college events. They have to go and find the people and talk to the people. They have to be proactive in their job. So I don't think finding the right way to motivate people is the right question. I think finding the right people is the right question, and that's something that I truly strive for. It's something that we try to do within our slate, is find the right people. Unfortunately, some of the people weren't able to file on time, but having the right people that are passionate about our major will do the job for you, and they have no need to be motivated. Other than that, like I said, just finding the right people is the key to having the best senators on the slate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now move on to United We Thrive.
I believe that senators play one of the most important roles on this campus by representing their individual constituencies, their colleges, the freshmen and sophomore, the juniors and seniors, maybe even the super seniors. And I believe through that role, you truly are that bridge between students and administration on this campus. So when you are running for one of those positions, or you're applying for one of those positions, I believe that you're not just doing it just for the sake of it. You're doing it because you have a passion for it, and that you really want to take that next step in being that representative for the student population of 38,000 students here at Cal State Northridge. And ways that you can improve and increase that is to help senators find their way in the beginning, train them, empower them, motivate them, and see exactly the tangible results of what impact you're making. By you going back and being a liaison to your clubs and organizations and making sure to incorporate all the resources that you're receiving at the Senate to the students, you're acting as that direct liaison, and that's something that we can make sure to continue on and senators be the best representatives for the population.
Thank you very much. All right, now we get to move on to the fun part, and this is the great part. So now we're going to have a president, vice president ticket questions. Where both teams will be able to answer as they feel necessary, whether it be the president or the vice president, and work together to come up with answers. It will still go with student success starting, and then it will go on to United We Thrive, and there are several questions. So it will be a 1 minute, it will be 2 minute answer, 1 minute rebuttal. Cool? All right. So for student success, your question is, how do you plan to work with the California State Student Association, and how do you feel that CSUN has a powerful lobbying voice?
Okay, so for the people in the audience or the people that are watching that may not know what the California State Student Association is, it is basically a council of all the student governments within the CSU system, and we come together every other month and work together on issues that affect the whole system, the system as a whole, whether it's advocating for more funding to the CSU, or again, getting more funding to provide enough advisement to our students, or addressing our deferred maintenance issues. So the California State Student Association is unique in the sense that it brings together student leaders from across the state that come from different cultures. Each of our CSUs is unique in its own way. We have different cultures. For example, some of our CSUs, they actually have their union and their AS combined, so they have different concerns than we have. But it all comes down to we're all come together at CSSA to advocate on behalf of the students. Again, to advocate for a widely accessible, high-quality education, and it is through that mission that the CSSA works, that we're able to bring student leaders together and actually work on issues. So we're able to address that, and CSUN does have a strong presence at the CSSA just because of one of the main reasons is because of the size of CSUN. It's the second largest CSU, and again, we can be very proactive. What I do believe is that we need to strengthen our legislative efforts, and we need to work on actually registering more students to go, taking more students to CHES, which we were just up in Sacramento 2 weeks ago, taking more students in CS Unity. And again, it's working with the different presidents, and it's very, very nice to actually work with other student leaders. For example, this semester I contacted their elections chair and other student leaders because again, we can help each other address the concerns of each of our campuses.
Thank you very much. All right, we will move on to the rebuttal from United We Thrive.
All right, so I have the honor to say that CSUN's presence has immensely grown within the California State Student Association within this past year. Our lobbying efforts, by being integrated and going into Sacramento, I've had the honor to attend the one that was last year, and being able to going into speaking to our constituents and to mentioning and representing the student body and how it is important when it comes to budget or any issue that pertains to the California State University systems, as well as all the 23 different California campuses on Manila.
I'll just like to continue in saying that it is true, we've had a lot of effort growing on a statewide level. I also serve as the CSU student trustee and represent not only this campus, but the 437,000 students in the CSU system. And it's truly an honor to see the different unique needs of our campus compared to the rest of them, as well as talk about issues that relate to social justice, legislative affairs, university affairs on a statewide level, and really put CSUN on the map and show what programs and services we offer that others can copy as well.
Thank you. Then we will now move on to United We Thrive. Your question is, CSUN is taking up the issue of possibly implementing a smoke-free campus. What is your stance on this issue?
I think that this is an issue that's pertaining to all students on this campus. It's been one that has not only been driven on the campus level, but also on the statewide CSU level as well. We have a large international student community, and we have certain students in different buildings that tend to be more smokers than others. And currently our policy states that we have, you can't be smoking at a certain amount of feet for food facilities, for buildings, and that is the policy that AS supports. However, there's discussion to shift that and make them more into having smoking zones rather than smoke-free zones. And I think in order to cater to the most of the populations that we do have on this campus, both the ones that would like to smoke and both the ones that do not want to smoke, that seems like the route that would best fit all and the route that we support.
And I agree with Talar. I think it's really important to represent the students that do choose to smoke on campus and that don't want smoking on campus. And we want to hear back from students and get their opinion and form that final decision based on what students would like to see integrated and implemented on campus when it comes to the smoking.
Thank you so much. We'll now move on to student success.
It's like we finish each other's sandwiches. I think we agree definitely with their ideals. It actually came up in Senate today, and it was going in the way of making this a smoke-free campus. However, I brought up the issue of the College of Business and Economics. Smoking is very prevalent in there, and we just can't shut out those people in the sense that people who smoke are going to want smoking areas, and people who don't smoke aren't going to want smoking, or are going to want to ban smoking. So I just wanted to bring up the topic of, we can't let the minority voice go unheard. And I believe that having these smoking areas will allow both the best worlds until we find a greater solution in the past, or in the future, once we get to deliberate a little bit about it.
We have 15 seconds.
Not only that, but we need to hear the student voice in this issue, and that's why when I drafted the survey, the election survey, I asked the question about smoking, because again, we need student feedback. We just can't make decisions, and that's why it's also crucial that we go out and raise awareness and ask students for feedback on this issue.
Thank you. All right. We will now move on to the next question, which is for student success. What about the Children's Center are you most proud of, and where do you think we could grow in this area?
I could start that off because I kind of deal with the Children's Center with the first person basis within the Internal Affairs Committee. One of the big things that I'm proud of the Children's Center is the improvements that they're making right now. They had a safety issue where there was no real safety of regulation of the children that were in there. With the new things that we implemented, they're going to put omni-locks, they're going to have passes for everybody, so everybody's easily identified, and they're going to go and make it a safer place so people feel more comfortable with leaving their kids there.
Not only that, but the Children's Center represents really what the mission of Associated Students is, which is to provide the best college experience possible to our students. The Children's Center provides our students who do have children with the opportunity to continue their education by providing them with affordable child care services. And if we didn't have that type of service, a lot of those students would not be able to continue their graduation. Not only that, but it currently it employs over 50% of our students that AS employs. It also provides, again, all of those students with great opportunities to practice and have real-world experience with for our students in health and human development, with actually working with children. So not only does it allow students to continue their education, but it also enhances the students that work their education. And again, that's one of the great services that we provide, and it's also one of the main services based on the budget that they receive. So it's very important, and that's why Taylor has worked and the Internal Affairs Committee has worked on the 5-year plan, not only for
15
our
seconds.
children.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to the rebuttal. 1 minute from United We Thrive.
One thing I'm really proud about the Children's Center is that it provides security for children as well as the parents that are going and getting an education on campus. They are secure knowing that their children are in good hands. It provides an educational experience for those that are involved with the Child Center, as well as the parents and being able to go and continue on with their education. And this allows them to receive their degree and to proceed further in the future.
I think the mission of CSU and CSUN is that we're a people's institution. We have such a diverse array of students, whether they're first generation, whether they are in those different minority groups, and one of them is our student parents. And I'm very proud that AS is the helm and the leader in terms of assisting the student parents, not only with having a place for them to leave their children, but also helping them in terms of finding different ways to get involved through different student internships and jobs that they can also do while their children are safe and secure, and they are in the process of, making sure that they're earning a living to support their child, as well as maintaining their access to a degree and eventually completion of that degree.
Thank you. All right. We will move on to our next question, which will start with United We Thrive. And your question is somewhat similar to the last, but it's, what about our sport clubs are you most proud of, and where do you think we could grow in that area? So I will start with Subian speaking.
The Sports Clubs has been a thriving program, and with my work at the Matador Involvement Center and seeing the one side of it first in terms of building those constitutions for those sports clubs, and then seeing them go to associated students, advocate why there should be a sports team, whether it's rugby or soccer or any team that the students feel like should be on campus. We have over 30 and it's growing right now. And our teams are so competitive with other schools. We have actually won many awards within the past few years alone, and our teams have been ranking and leading in the system. And I think we can continue on that foot in this next year to come.
And one of our emphasis with the collaboration is to spread awareness about the different sports teams that are having games on campus as well as off campus, to support them and utilize the different marketing opportunities that we have within AS to make sure that students are aware of the different sports teams, when their games are, all the accomplishments, all the games and victories that they have won is something that we really want to get out to the student body.
There's a specific Sportsapalooza event that takes place every semester, and that is a great way for students to come on by, see what's the best suit for them, and really join and get connected to the campus in perhaps a different way that they hadn't seen before.
And this also has the opportunity of increasing school spirit, because as we all know that sports games just rally and brings everyone and unifies us all together. And by increasing school spirit, not only do you make the campus stronger, but you increase the sports teams and make them stronger. And we feel that the student present is extremely important when it comes to attending the different sports games on campus.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to the rebuttal from Student Success.
So first I have to start off with saying, what is there not to be proud of Sports Club? Sports Club has evolved so much in the coming that, it's from where it started and where it is now. There are almost about 35 within sports clubs, and they've come such a far way, and we've talked to JP numerous times, and it's unfortunate some of the setbacks that they had to go through, but I'm really proud of where they've come and how many opportunities they've been able to give students.
Not only that, but we've met with them and actually talked to them about what are their concerns. For example, just this semester, we've actually worked with their executive board in helping them continue their involvement by providing them with priority registration. Again, about $141,000 goes to the sport clubs, and there's limitations when it comes to the budget, but we can always support them by better marketing them ourselves, with providing them with banners, flyers, and that's why today in Senate we allocated to provide the Sports Network, which has now been coined ASPN, to market themselves.
Thank you. Well, that ends my questions for the night. So we're going to do a very fun thing right now. We're going to allow each of the tickets to write their own question they would like to ask to the other candidates, in which they will have 2 minutes to respond, and there will be no rebuttal. So I will give you all 2 minutes to come up with a question you would like to ask the other candidate or the other slate, and you will answer together as a team. and we'll keep going from there. So 2 minutes, and I will start it now. Okay, so we will end that time, and we will start with student success to ask the first question. United We Thrive will answer the first question. You have 2 minutes, and after that time, we will move on. So, starting with student success, you may ask your question.
Again, every student pays $172, and that's how we get $7.6 million. Based on that, on the AS budget, and because we have limited resources, how do you plan to work with clubs and organizations in getting them the funding that they need, as well as balancing different growth within our different departments, again, because we have limited resources? Which departments do you believe need to continue to grow?
So I plan to attend and to talk to the students within different clubs and organizations and ask them what they would like to see their money being spent on. What are the pressing issues, the different projects that they'd like to be implemented on campus? I mentioned based off of our $7.6 million budget that's coming from the students and the clubs and organizations, aware that you can go ahead and go into AS and receive funding for whether you want to go into different conferences and represent your club and organization, as well as CSUN in general as a whole. And that's one way in which we can implement.
There's a lot of pressing programs, services within Associated Students, but also clubs and organizations, different instruction-related activities that come to our table. And it is up to us to sometimes play that balancing act in terms of who receives these funds. But I'm proud to say that with Associated Students, over $1 million of the dollars that we have go directly back into club and organization events, travel, and we have many different committees as well, whether it's related to instruction-related activities board, whether it's related to a special projects fund from the University Corporation gives us when we see students who are aspiring to move on to different levels of involvement within this campus, or as they travel to different campuses to attend certain conferences and leadership development. And we make sure to prioritize those clubs and organizations who come and ask for that help and who need it, as well as the thriving AS programs and services that continue to grow year in and year out. So where is that source of the most need, and how best we can make sure to meet that need as we go through the annual budget process every year, and as clubs and organizations come and ask for funds through the supplemental budget process throughout the year as well.
And as
15
well,
seconds.
as well as representing the smaller clubs and organizations, and let them know that they can expand and come to AS and receive funding in order to further grow and implement their name and to be spread word around campus.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to student success. United We Thrive with their question for student success.
Okay, so as we know that President Harrison, our current university president, are really focused on sustainability initiatives, and our question is, what are the ways that you will work with CSUN administration to increase AS sustainability efforts?
2 minutes.
Well, again, we need to, first of all, sit down and, as you know, one of President Harrison's, like she mentioned, is her goals is to use sustainability and make CSUN more sustainable. AAS runs the recycling program on campus, and we're currently looking into actually building a center that would allow us to actually recycle more materials and be more sustainable. So that is hopefully the goal that we will be able to accomplish within the next 5 years. Again, because of the limited budget, it's going to take us a while to actually build a center. In terms of sustainability, we also need to increase awareness to our students. Not all of our students are experts in sustainability. For example, I'm not an expert, like Tiffany is, but that's why we have Earth Fair, where we actually provide our students an opportunity to engage and learn about different sustainability issues. And that is really the best, one of the best ways we can do is just to raise awareness with events like Earth Fair.
Tiffany, you're amazing at sustainability, by the way. I think sustainability is a great issue and is part of the CSUN Shine initiative. And I think that at this point, sustainability has grown so much. And I think with this term, one of the big issues would be to maintain it rather than to grow more. I know that one of the pressing issues is like the recycling bins. Some of them are being broken into. So things like that, we need to reinforce the security on those, as well as raise the awareness on flow water, because there are still students who are still questioning on what flow water is and what the difference is, as well as raise awareness for the other activities like Zipcar. We've moved through a lot, and I think we just need to maintain what we have now and keep it going and prepare for
15
future
seconds.
growth.
Thank you very much. With that, we'll move into closing statements. Because the president's open, we will have the vice presidents close, starting with student success and then finishing with United We Thrive based on the conflict.
So overall, like I've advertised in every single classroom that I went to, one of the things that I want to see from the students is participation. We value votes. Of course, on our side, we want to win over your side. However, we want to see participation over just choosing a side. So we would like everybody just to come out, see what people are offering, and vote so that we know that we're representing the actual people. One of the biggest issues was not having the voter turnout. That's one of the things that we want to change this year.
Perfect, thank you very much. And we'll move to the final closing statement.
I'd just like to close in saying that it's truly been an honor representing all of you all, and moving in the next year, I can only imagine the amount of growth and the amount of success that we'll all reach as long as we work together and we ensure that we are spreading communication, collaboration, sustainability, and opportunity on this campus. Because only when we work together, we can thrive and flourish and enrich the student experience on this campus from day one when students enter, whether they're freshmen or a transfer student, to when they leave. We want to make sure that students have that matador spirit when they come in and that they leave the campus engaged and continue to stay involved, whether it's attending athletic games, whether it's coming as a part of the Alumni Association and having that network to the students here. Our slate represents such a diverse group of people who are involved in various aspects on campus. That is crucial to have as your student senate. You want to make sure that the student voice does not come from one area of the campus, but comes from a whole different slew of areas, different clubs and organizations, different departments and services, different student jobs that are offered. Everyone brings a unique perspective. And going into next year with our combined experience, with all of your participation, we can only reach to bigger and better and bigger places. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much, both candidates, or for both slates, all candidates. Thank you. I'm getting tongue-tied, I don't know why. Thank you all very much for coming out, and thank you to everyone who came out from the audience. Please feel free, after we wrap up here, to come and meet the candidates and ask them more about anything you would like. Also, to just give you some information for everyone watching at home or here in the audience, voting will begin on Tuesday, April 1st, and end on Wednesday, April 2nd at 6 p.m. So make sure to check your Gmail accounts. An email will be sent, very simple link just for you, or you can vote at polling locations on campus, which is designated on our website. Thank you all very much, and I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Also reminding about the election survey and providing us feedback.
There will also be a survey, and we would love your input, because you're all beautiful people.
I really